Hello friends and welcome to this session for GATE and ESC Electrical Engineering. My friend, this session is going to be one of the most awesome session and you are going to really learn something very new and something that will help you in the exam. In the exam for GATE, may it be 2021 or it may be 2022. Now, before we start the lecture, my friend, let me introduce you myself. My name is Ankit Goyal. I got AIR 1 in GATE 2014 and GATE 2018. And my friend, I was also awarded the President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from IIT Indore. Presently, I am working as a director at an academy for GATE department, and that is why constantly I am able to bring new and more initiatives for you. Because an academy is not an institute. An academy is not a coaching. An academy is more of a revolution. An academy is more of a feeling. An academy has everything right that is wrong with every other coaching institute in the country. The name An Academy, my friend, has been comprised of two words, un and academy. That means it has everything that is not there in an academy. So an academy cares about the student in the best way possible. It cares about the student most than or more than any other person can. All the initiatives are centered on the student. That is, they are always working towards the student welfare. And that is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system. That is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system free of cost on our YouTube channel. So my friend, if you are visiting this channel for the first time, make sure that you have subscribed, because we have electrical machine, power electronics, power system, communication system, EMT, EDC, network, signal, control, digital, everything is here on this channel, that too free of cost, my friend. But what has An Academy done? An Academy has brought a revolution in the country where they are providing the most affordable education, and that too free of that too at the most affordable price, as well as free of cost on YouTube. So my friend, if you want to be a part of the revolution that An Academy has created by means of the courses that are running on An Academy, where they are bringing you the best ever educators of the country on a single platform. That is, you, my friend, can be able to learn from India's top educator at the cheapest or at the most affordable prices possible. At the most affordable prices possible. Now, my friend, I'm talking to you. You can dare to dream. You can dare to enter a PSU. You can dare to dream about MTech from an IIT. Why? Because An Academy has made it possible. An Academy has done everything that is required to get the best rank in GATE examination. So my friend, if you want to join An Academy, make sure that you use the code Ankit ESE, because the door to An Academy opens with this code, and this directly makes me your mentor, so that I can guide you at each and every step regarding your GATE preparation. And not only this, you will also get 10% discount on your subscription. Now, what does An Academy bring for you? Not only the live classes. The live classes are the best part of An Academy, where you can interact with the educator, ask your doubt, and make sure that you understand each and every concept, and then only exit the class. But other than that, you get dedicated doubt session, where you can post a pic of a question and ask any doubt, any number of doubts. Then you have weekly quizzes. Every Sunday we test how much you have understood. Then there are daily practice paper which we provide you for practice. Then there are practice questions from An Academy. Then there are test series from An Academy. Then there is crash course, where we will boost your rank in the last few months. There is rank improvement batch for the students who have already done well in the GATE examination. Now, my friend, all of this just with one subscription fees, where you don't have to pay anything again and again or anything extra. That is the magic of An Academy. Just join An Academy without thinking too much.
Hi guys, up to now we have seen different construction of the relays, like we saw attracted armature type of relay. The problem with this relay was that the pickup current was fixed, but the advantage was these were the faster relays and they can operate for AC as well as DC. Then we move to balanced beam relay, where this problem was rectified and we can control the pickup current by controlling the restraining current. And then we saw induction disc type of relay, in which we saw two constructions, shaded pole construction and watt hour meter construction. Then we saw induction cup relay, which operated on the principle of induction motor, and it had a cup rotor which has lesser inertia, hence it has a higher acceleration and higher speed as compared to induction disc type of relay. Then we moved on to first type of protection scheme, that is overcurrent protection. In overcurrent protection, we saw different protection schemes like definite time overcurrent relay, which worked in saturation, so the operating time was constant. Inverse time, in which operating time was varying inversely with the current. Then instantaneous, which took the minimum time to operate, but the operation was not like in an instant. It took the minimum time whatever is required for the relay operation. There was no time lag. Then IDMT, in which it showed inverse characteristics at low values of fault current and definite characteristics at high values. Then very inverse, which was more inverse than the inverse type and had better selectivity. Then extremely inverse, which had the best selectivity, and hence it can distinguish between the magnetizing inrush current and your fault current. Then we saw certain terms associated like plug setting multiplier, relay setting, relay operating current. These sort of terms we saw in conjunction with the overcurrent protection. In this lecture, what we will do is we will see a universal equation which will characterize all type of relays which are used in our power system protection. Such a equation is called as universal relay torque equation. Now in universal relay torque equation, torque which is being represented by Q can be expressed as K1 mod I square, K2 mod V square plus K3 mod V mod I cos theta minus tau minus K4. Okay. Now here we have included each and every term. This term represents overcurrent protection. This term represents over voltage protection. This term represents directional relay, which I will come to later on. And the last one represents restraining term due to spring torque. Okay. Now, any of these terms can act as operating torque or as a restraining torque. But it might be confusing for you, since I have included only one negative term. How can any of these terms behave as a restraining torque? Because net torque is always operating minus restraining. So restraining torque must come with a negative sign. The thing is that whenever any term will be taken as restraining torque, by default we will put a negative sign before that, so that it will act as a restraining term and the other term will act as a operating term. Other thing to remember is all these terms will not appear in all the relays. We will have to include specific terms from this equation to design different types of relays. And here theta is angle between V and I, okay, or we can call power factor angle, and tau is the adjustable parameter. Okay, that means based on the relay design, tau will be different. So this is the significance of different terms. Now let us have a look at how can we design different type of relay torques using this single equation. So first type of relays that we have already covered is overcurrent relay. In this, what you do is you equate K1 and K3 to 0. So what I am left at is K2 and K3 equal to 0. Then it will be K1 mod I square minus K4. Now this must be greater than 0 for relay operation. That means K1 mod I square must be greater than K4, or mod I square must be greater than K4 by K1, or we can say mod I is greater than under root K4 by K1. This will be called as your pickup current. So as we see, the condition that is coming is that the current through the relay must be greater than pickup current for its operation. This is the basic condition for the overcurrent type of protection. Hence, we can design overcurrent relays, or we can determine the performance of overcurrent relay on the basis of universal relay torque equation. Okay. So next, let us consider the operation of directional relay. Now, directional relay is like we are encountering this term for the first time, and it is not so self-explanatory. So let me take an example of a fault and then you will understand. Now, earlier what kind of systems we were considering were like this. There was one relay plus circuit breaker. Suppose like this. Now if a fault was occurring here, it was understood that this will operate first, then this, and the last one should be this. But now this system was fed from one end. Okay. So there was no problem of the conflict of the relay operation, because suppose the fault was occurring here. Then this relay will not be getting any current. The entire current will flow like this. So definitely this will operate first of all. If fault occurs here, current will flow like this. So this will operate first of all. So other relays are not affected. That means the relay nearest to the fault will operate all by itself. Is it fine? So there is no conflict of operation between the different relays. But this is not the case when we take the case where the source is fed from both ends. Like this is the system. Suppose this is a system. Here we have 6 relays R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 and R6. Suppose we are drawing load at each bus. Now let us consider two possible cases of the faults. Fault here and fault here. Let us call as fault as F1 and F2. Now when the fault occurs at F1, which of these relays must operate? Since the relay nearest to the fault is R2, R2 must operate. But if you see, the current flowing into this fault will be something like this, since it is fed from both ends. Like this. So that means this relay will also be encountering overcurrent, which is undesirable condition, and hence this relay can also operate, but it must not operate. Only the relay R2 must operate. So we must design a relay such that the relay R3 does not operate under such a condition. That means just the overcurrent protection is not sufficient in case the source is fed from both ends. So let me show you how we design a relay. Now when we design a relay at R2, so the fault is here. So first we will use a current transformer. Okay. Then this will feed a relay R2, and here we will have a potential coil which will measure the voltage of the fault point. Let me call as VP. Now as you can see, when the current is entering here, the current in this will be like this. So this current will be lagging the voltage, because when fault is occurring here, as I told you, fault current is always lagging power factor. In such a case, relay R2 must operate. That means whenever current lags, that relay R2 must operate. Okay. But then it can be argued that the relay R2 will operate even when there is a current going into this load. Like this, if a current is coming from here, it is going into this load. Okay. Then also the relay R2 will operate. So what we can do is we can introduce additional protection, that will be overcurrent protection. Means the relay will be called as directional overcurrent relay, which will ensure that there is a fault since a high current is flowing, and which will eliminate the maloperation of relay R3 and ensure that relay R2 only operates. So the essential condition is whenever current will lag the voltage, the relay will operate, but it is understood that the current must be higher than a preset value or a pickup value. So let me show you how we derive the operation of this relay from the universal relay torque equation. Now, in universal torque equation, what we do is we equate K1, K2 and K4 to 0. So what is left is K3 mod V mod I cos theta minus tau. Now you might be wondering how I am reducing the arbitrary terms to 0 in each case. But that is not there is no concept behind it. The thing is that their relays are designed in such a manner that such terms will not be present in the construction of the relay. Like directional relay will not have any overcurrent or the over voltage term. That is basically incorporated in the design of the relay. Now for relay to trip, Q must be greater than 0. That means cos of theta minus tau must be greater than 0. Or theta minus tau must be less than 90 degree. For relay to not operate, or we can call it as block, Q must be less than 0. Cos of theta minus tau must be less than 0. Or theta minus tau must be greater than 90 degree. So now how do we represent it in terms of diagram or graphically? Now suppose this is my voltage phasor. Then for lagging current, the relay must operate. So suppose this is the current I. It is lagging by an angle theta. Now since tau is an adjustable parameter, let me call that this is the angle tau. Now if you see, when theta is equal to tau, cos theta minus tau will be 1. So torque will be maximum. Hence this will be called as maximum Q line. The torque will be maximum whenever theta is equal to tau. Now when theta minus tau is 90 degree, then torque is 0. So let me draw another line which is at 90 degree to tau. So when theta minus tau is 90 degree, the torque will be 0. So this line represents 0 torque line. Okay. So there are two lines, or 0 Q line we can say. One is the maximum Q line and other is the 0 Q line. And in between these, the relay will operate. Because here we will get the maximum torque, here we will get the 0 torque. So relay will operate here, and above this it will block. Okay. So that is the phasor diagram or graphical representation of the operation of directional relay. Is it fine? So remember, there are two lines. One is the maximum torque line, or and other is 0 torque line based on the value of tau, where tau is an adjustable parameter that depends on the relay parameters during the construction. Next type of relay is called as distance relay. Now as the name suggests, distance relays are the relays which operate if the fault occurs within certain distance of the relay, and we call such a distance as protective zone. Okay. If fault occurs within the protective zone of the relay will operate. These operate based on the distances, but how can a relay or a switch can measure distance? So actually, the relay does not measure the distance. Rather, it measures voltage and current at relay location. Now, V by I will give me a measure of impedance, which is directly proportional to length or distance. And hence, these relays can indirectly operate on the basis of distance. Is it fine? So that is how a distance relay operates. It operates on the ratio of V and I. Remember, the distance relay can never measure the distance or the impedance. Rather, it measures the ratio of voltage and current at the fault location. So there are three categories of distance relay. One is your impedance relay. Other is your reactance relay. And the last one is your mho relay. Okay. So these are the three categories of the distance relay. So let us look at each and every one by one. So first is your impedance relay. Here what we do is we equate K3 and K4 to 0. Then torque will become K1 mod I square minus K2 mod V square. Okay. This must be greater than 0. So here this term acts as operating term and the other term will act as restraining term. Is it fine? So as I told you, whichever term acts as a restraining term, by default we will substitute a negative sign before it. It implies K1 mod I square must be greater than K2 mod V square. That means mod V by mod I must be less than under root K1 by K2. Or we can say mod Z must be less than mod ZRS, where mod ZRS is equal to under root K1 by K2. That is called as impedance setting of the relay or relay setting impedance. That is why RS. RS means relay setting. Now if we wish to draw the characteristic of this relay on the Z plane, Z means resistance and the reactance plane, Rx plane. Rx. Now the boundary condition will be mod Z is equal to mod ZRS. Now whenever mod Z is equal to constant, it represents a circle centered at origin. So it will be like this. The radius of this circle will be mod Z RS. Now the region of operation of a relay is when mod Z is less than mod Z RS, that is the interior of the circle. So here the relay will trip and outside this the relay will block. Okay. So remember, this is the characteristic of the impedance relay. Why? Because these distance relays are very important and sometimes you may be given a characteristic and you will need to identify the type of relay. So it is better that you always keep it in the back of your mind. What is the characteristic of different distance relays? Next is your reactance relay. Now here what we do is, here we will consider the directional element. So here we equate K2 and K4 to 0. So Q will be K1 mod I square minus K3 mod V mod I cos of theta minus tau. Now what we do is, here this will be called as operating torque and this will be my restraining torque. Okay. Then what we will do is we will adjust tau to 90 degree because it was controlled by the user. It is adjustable, so we adjust tau equal to 90 degree. That means Q is equal to K1 mod I square minus K3 mod V mod I cos of theta minus 90 is sin theta. This must be greater than 0. So K1 mod I square must be greater than K3 mod V mod I sin theta. So it will become, this equation can be written as mod V by mod I sin theta should be less than K1 by K3. That is mod Z sin theta must be less than K1 by K3. That is X is less than K1 by K3. Is it fine? Because mod Z sin theta is the reactance. So how does the characteristic look like on a Rx plane? Rx. So here the boundary condition is X is equal to constant. Like this. This value will be K1 by K3. So the region below this is the operating region of a relay, that is trip region. Above this it is block region. Okay, so that is how we characterize the reactance relay. Since it operates on the reactance, that means its operation is independent of the resistance of the power system or the transmission line. Next type of relay is called as Moore relay. So here what we do is, we will consider K1 equal to K4 equal to 0. So here Q will be K3 mod V mod I cos of theta minus tau minus K2 mod V square. So here this term represents operating torque, and this term here represents restraining torque. Okay, now this Q must be greater than 0 for relay operation. So K3 mod V mod I cos theta minus tau must be greater than K2 mod V square. So mod V by mod I must be less than K3 by K2 cos of theta minus tau. Now based on this, I have to draw the characteristics of the Moore relay on the Rx plane. So let me show you how it is drawn. First we will take a Rx plane. Now here, since tau is an adjustable parameter, let me draw a line which represents tau. Like this. This angle is tau. Now suppose this angle is theta. Now to obtain sine and, this angle complete is theta. To obtain sine and cosine, we need a right angle triangle. So first let me show you, this angle will be theta minus tau. So to obtain trigonometric functions, we need a right angle triangle. So let me complete this right angle triangle like this. This will be a right angle triangle. Now if the distance of this line or the length of this line is K3 by, now if the length of this line is K3 by K2, then what will be K3 by K2 cos theta minus tau? This length. This will represent K3 by K2 cos of theta minus tau. And we also know the length, or the angle of a semicircle is 90 degree. So how we draw this? This is drawn something like this. This will be like this. This is 90 degree. Okay. So angle in a semicircle is 90 degree. That means all the points within this circle will lie in the trip region. Outside we will have a block region. Why? Because Z or mod Z must be less than this length. So all the points will come under this region. So that is how we draw the characteristics of Moore relay. The characteristics of this relay is not that much trivial. So it is better that you memorize the characteristic. But just remember how we have drawn it. We first took a diameter of the circle equal to K3 by K2. And then we formed a right angle triangle. And we find the cosine of theta minus tau. And it becomes a chord of this circle which passes through origin. Hence all the interior region of that circle will lie in the trip region, and exterior of that circle will lie in the block region. Next type of relay is called as directional over current relay. Now as I told you, in directional relays, what is the basic assumption? That the current direction gets reversed. So directional relay is based on the assumption direction of current is reversed. But in addition to that, what we are checking is that the current amplitude or current magnitude should be high to indicate that there is a fault in a system. Okay. So how can I say that the direction of current is reversed in case of a fault? I showed you an example in the directional relay. Otherwise, what you can understand is, whenever we use synchronous motor in a faulty condition, then what happened? That motor behaved as a generator and it released its stored kinetic energy in form of the fault current. So that means the motor was acting as a generator and hence it was delivering current. So direction of current was reversed in the motor. If direction of current is reversed in the motor, there we will need to utilize the directional relays. Okay, because direction gets reversed whenever a fault is occurring. So there we need to use directional relays. Is it fine? So how does a directional overcurrent relay operates? Directional overcurrent relay operates when the torque is produced by interaction of magnetic field by current and the voltage sources. Like suppose this is my voltage phasor. Then your current is, let us say, leading. This is my current. It is leading by an angle theta. Okay, because as I told you, the relay will operate between the 0 and the maximum torque line. So there is my current line at an angle theta. Okay, this was the maximum Q line. This was the 0 Q line. So since it is lying within this region, the relay must operate. So in the same phase as current, the flux produced by current will lie. But the flux produced by voltage will lie in, let us say, some other phase, phi v. Okay, why? It is lagging by an angle phi because the current due to the voltage source will lag by an angle phi where impedance has an angle phi. What I am saying is, if you find out the current due to voltage source, it will be V by Z angle phi. So it will be V by Z angle minus phi. And the flux will lie in the direction of current, and hence phi v is lying at an angle of phi v from voltage. Then the torque is produced by interaction of both these fluxes, phi v and phi I. So torque is proportional to phi v, phi I sine of theta plus phi. How I have directly written this expression? This expression has been directly written on the basis of induction disk relay. There I derived that the torque produced in the disk is equal to phi 1 into phi 2 and into sine theta, where theta was the angle between the two fluxes. Here the angle between the two fluxes is phi v plus phi I, and hence the torque will be produced proportional to sine of theta phi v plus phi I. For maximum torque, we can say theta v, theta plus phi must be 90 degree. Okay, that means the angle between the two fluxes must be 90 degree. Is it fine? So that is how this relay will operate. Now if we see the torque equation of this relay, the torque equation will be given as Vi cos theta minus tau minus k. That means we have assumed k1 is equal to k2 is equal to 0 and k3 has been taken as 1. So that means cos of theta minus tau must be greater than k by Vi, which we call as another constant, let us say k1. Okay, so torque can be written as, how it can be written as torque? Torque can be written as Vi into k1 minus k. Okay, because cos theta minus tau is replaced by k1. Now when torque is 0, what we will say? The boundary condition is when torque is 0, then Vi k1 minus k is equal to 0, Vi is equal to k by k1. So the characteristic on the Vi plane will be, how it will be? It will be hyperbolic. It will be like this. Why I have taken minimum values of current and voltage? Because it is a overcurrent type of relay. So below a certain value it will not operate. Hence there will be some minimum value of current and some minimum value of voltage. Okay. So the thing to be remembered about the directional overcurrent relay, it has one directional unit and one overcurrent unit. How does a directional overcurrent relay operates? It operates based on interaction of the fluxes produced by the fault current and the fault voltage. Now remember, this fault current and fault voltage are not actual fault current and fault voltage. Rather, these are the stepped down values of fault current and fault voltage by means of current transformer and potential transformer. So what I am saying is, current transformer will step down the fault current for the relay operation. Similarly, potential transformer will step down the fault voltage for relay operation. Then based on the angle or based on the fluxes produced by these two quantities, the directional overcurrent relay will operate. And for maximum torque, the angle between these two fluxes must be 90° so that maximum torque can be produced. And the characteristics of these relay on a VI plane looks like a hyperbola, which has certain minimum limits because it has a overcurrent unit as well. If it were only the directional relay, then there will be no minimum limits for the voltage and current. Okay, but it has a overcurrent unit, so we need a current greater than pickup current for it to operate. And remember, in directional and the overcurrent units, priority is given to directional. That means once the directional part or directional unit of this relay operates, then only the overcurrent will come into picture. That means if the direction of current is not reversed, no matter how high the current is flowing in the system, the relay will not operate. Once the direction is reversed, it will check for the magnitude of current. If it is found greater than pickup current, it will operate. Otherwise, it will not operate. So remember, first direction, then magnitude. So let us see where do we apply the distance relays. First, we saw the impedance type of relay. So basically, impedance type of relay is used for the protection of medium transmission line. Then we saw reactance type of relay. And as I told you, in reactance relay, the operation does not depend on circuit resistance. Since the operation does not depend on circuit resistance, it is used for the protection against ground fault. Why against ground fault? See, whenever there a transmission line is grounded, or whenever there a ground fault occurs, then the resistance from the line or from the apparatus to the ground can be variable. Suppose a tree branch falls on the transmission line due to which it gets connected to tower. Then resistance of that tree branch is unknown and it is variable. That is why whenever we have a variable resistances, then it is better that relay operation does not depend on resistance. In that case, we can use reactance relay. And other thing is that whenever the circuit breaker will operate, there will be arc resistance. If arc resistance is approximately equal to line resistance, then the relay will maloperate. Why? Because suppose we take the impedance relay, the condition is mod Z less than mod ZRS. But due to resistance of the arc, the resistance gets doubled, so impedance increases. If impedance increases, then there is a chance that mod Z will be greater than mod ZRS. If such a thing happens, then the relay will not operate. But there was a fault. So in that case also we need a relay which is insensitive to the resistance. And when the arc resistance will be approximately equal to line resistance, it will occur when the line resistance is small. And that is only possible if the line is a short transmission line. Because resistance is proportional to length, the smaller the length, lower is the resistance. So reactance relay is used for protection of short transmission line. Is it fine? Where the arc resistance is approximately equal to line resistance. Last type of relay is Moore relay, and the property of Moore relay is it is least affected by power surges. Okay, we studied about the surges in transients on a transmission line. So it is least affected by surges, and we studied surges for a long transmission line. Hence it is used for protection of long transmission line. This is one of the most commonly asked question in the PSU examination, that what is the method of protection of long transmission line? We use Moore relay. And they can ask it other way around also. Where the Moore relay will be used? It will be used for the protection of long transmission line. So remember, short line impedance, medium line your reactance, medium line impedance, short line reactance, and long line Moore relay. So these are called as your distance relay. So up to now we have seen two protection scheme. One is the overcurrent protection, other is the distance protection. Next, let us understand about the differential relay. Now, as the name suggests, differential relays will operate on the difference of two quantities. So what we do is, suppose there is a coil or a winding. Now suppose the fault occurs. Then if I is the current here, IF is current going here, then the current will be I minus IF. Now if you compare the current at two ends of the coil, both the currents are different, and if there is a difference in the two currents, means some current is flowing into the ground. If such a case is happening, that means there is a fault in the middle of the coil, or there is an internal fault in the coil. Internal fault means fault which is internal to the coil or inside the coil or between the two ends of the coil. So that is how we can use a differential relay. It basically checks the difference between the currents at the two ends of the coil, and it passes that difference into a overcurrent relay, which will check if the difference of the two currents is greater than the pickup value. Basically, overcurrent relay does what? It checks if the operating current is greater than pickup current. Here the operating current will actually be the difference of the current at the two ends of the line. Now suppose the current here is I1, current here is I2. If the current transformer ratio is 1:k, that means 1 ampere current is converted to K, I1 will be converted to KI1 and I2 will be converted to KI2. This is OC represent relay operating coil, that is the operating coil of overcurrent relay. So by KCL, what is the current? K into I1 minus I2. Now for overcurrent relay operation, K into mod I1 minus I2 must be greater than I pickup. Whenever the current through the operating coil is greater than I pickup, then the relay will operate. But the problem is that it can only operate for the internal fault, that is fault between the two ends of the coil. Now suppose if the fault was occurring here, then current I is here, here current will be IF. If you compare these two currents, both are I, that means the relay will not be able to detect any type of fault. So the fault must occur between the two ends of the line so that currents do not match at both the ends and the differential relay can operate. The other thing is that since here we will need a identical current transformer, that is 1:k, 1:k. Otherwise, suppose one has a ratio K1, other has a ratio K2. Then operating current will become K1 I1 minus K2 I2. Now suppose I1 and I2 are both equal, that means there is no fault. That means the current operating current will become K1 minus K2 into I. And if it is greater than pickup current, the relay will operate. That means even if there is no fault, the relay will operate because there is a difference or there is a net current flowing through the operating coil of the relay. Why is it flowing? Because the transformation ratio of both the current transformers is not same. This can be due to manufacturing defect, or this can also be due to saturation, because if any current transformer saturates, then its secondary current will remain fixed and the primary current may change. So if one of the transformer will saturate, then their transformation ratio will change. Hence, there will be a mal-operation of a relay. So that means we have to do certain changes in this relay to make it more reliable and to remove these problems of saturation or mal-operation of the relay. So we move to a circuit called as percentage differential relay. Okay. In percentage differential relay, what we do is we have two additional coils called as restraining coil. So basically we are increasing the restraining term. Why we are doing is, if you increase the restraining term, basically you are increasing the pickup value. If you are increasing the pickup value, essentially what you are saying is difference between the two currents must be high in order for the relay to operate. And difference can only be high in the event of a fault. For minor saturation and other problems, there will be difference between the two currents, but it won't be high. So relay will only operate if the difference is high. That can only occur when there is a fault. Now, suppose the operating coil has N0 number of turns, then MMF of the operating coil will be N0K mod I1 minus I2. MMF of the restraining coil will be NR by 2 mod I1 plus NR by 2 mod I2. Or we can say, since both currents are taken as positive, NR by 2 mod I1 plus I2. Or we can say NR into mod I1 plus I2 by 2. Now, when the difference in the MMF or the magnetic field produced by these two currents is greater than the pickup value, then the relay will operate. That means N naught K mod I1 minus I2 minus NR, sorry, here there will be K mod I1 plus I2 by 2 is greater than I pickup. If it is greater than I pickup, then the relay will operate. So that way we have increased the pickup value, or we have increased the condition or the difference between the two currents. Like, I will tell you an example. Here let me first tell you about the two terms. NR by N naught term here is called as bias or slope of the relay. Okay. So let us take an example here. Suppose the turns ratio is 100:1. Here we have 500 ampere current. Here I have only 50 ampere. Then this current will become here. KI1 will be 500 into 1 by 100. So 5 ampere. KI2 will be 50 into 1 by 100. That is how much? It will be 50 by 100, that is 0.5 ampere. So operating current will be 4.5 ampere. And what will be the restraining current? It is I1 plus I2 by 2. Sorry, K into I1 plus I2 by 2, that is 5.5 by 2. So it is 2.75 ampere. Now if you see, the difference between these two currents is very high. If it is greater than the pickup value, then the relay will operate, and otherwise the relay will not operate. So that is the basic condition for the percentage differential relay. Why it is called as percentage? Because this factor of NR by N naught will be forming, which is called as bias or the percentage differential relay. So this way we have removed that problem of saturation or mismatching current transformer. So let us summarize what we covered in this lecture. We started with the universal relay torque equation, which stated that Q is mod K1I square plus K2 mod V square plus K3 mod V mod I cos theta minus tau minus K4. Then we studied on the basis of this what is a overcurrent relay. Then three types of distance relays: impedance, which is used for medium transmission line; then reactance relay; and then Moore relay. Okay, and out of this, Moore relay is inherently directional because cos of theta minus tau term is coming, and it is used for protection of long line, reactance relay for short line. Why? Because it is unaffected by the resistance. And at last we saw differential relay. In differential relay we saw the essential condition is N naught K I1 minus I2 minus NR K mod I1 plus I2 by 2 should be greater than I pickup. So remember this condition because this is the most important condition for a differential relay. And other thing that you need to remember is that these three type of relays, overcurrent, distance and differential, form the core of the GATE syllabus from the topics of protective relaying. If any numerical is asked, it is mostly concentrated around these three concepts. In the next lecture, what we'll start is, we will see how each and every element of the power system is protected, like transmission line, alternators and transformer. What are the specific protection scheme for each and every element?
So my friend, if you want to join an academy, if you liked the lecture, if you like the content that you have just watched, and you have decided that an academy is the right place for you, and you want to learn with me, you want to learn from me, then don't hesitate, because that is where we are conducting free classes every day that will boost your GATE rank. So if you decide to take subscription, click on GATE and ESE, click on get subscription. After this, you can choose the plan that you want to opt for. The final year and dropper can take 1 year plan. Second and the third year can take 2 year plan. But don't forget to use the code Ankit ESE. This will give you 10% off as well as it will bring you under my guidance. And as you can see, the prices are really affordable, my friend. It is much less than any other institute can offer you. And that is why I keep repeating, Unacademy is not an academy. It is a revolution. It is a feeling. You can make the payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking. Also, EMI is available on debit card, but for HDFC debit card and Bajaj Finserv debit card. So if you are from a weak financial background, you can pay the amount in installments, but only use the code Ankit ESE. And my friend, these are some videos where I have told how to study, how to get the best rank in GATE, and these videos will really help you in cracking GATE. So make sure that you watch each and every one of them. And my friend, these are our other channels, like for mechanical we have, for civil also we have, for computer science we have for SSC, JEE, all branches, electrical, mechanical, civil. And on this channel we have the previous year question video solution, that too free of cost. And many more channels will be coming very soon for you guys. So be a part of our YouTube family and you can take the benefit of all the free content that we are bringing.